you probably don't.
You want me to go back through it?
If you would.
Yes, I could. I can. Okay, so the recording is now on, so I'm going to revisit the information that we just saw. Share screen. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for being here today. I really want to be able to give you guys information about the Juneteenth Market Network fundraiser. The Juneteenth Market Network fundraiser is an event that happens once a year. We just started this event last year. It came from Ms. Liz Cruz, who thought that it would be a great idea to replace our Healthy Communities Walk, which happened on Shaw's campus. We used to have a Healthy Communities Walk that started at Estes Hall and ended at the John Chavis Center. That was a very expensive event, and it was kind of hard to get people to buy in to do the walk because our audience hasn't grown to the capacity that could sustain a walk. We had a sponsorship company, a bank that used to sponsor that event. And so we pivoted to the Juneteenth event, which is a smaller event that's held at Raleigh Founded. This event and all of our events, we want to be able to build the events such that they handle the operational capacity of the TMT Youth Community Foundation, which would hire 5 students with the TMT Youth Community Foundation, a $250,000 budget, to be able to run our production, to be able to do events. And those events consist of the Juneteenth Market Network fundraiser, the TMT Film Festival, as well as the MHOTEP event. The film festival is in October each year, and the MHOTEP is in February each year and operates as a who's who for the cyber bears. We also want to be able to have these events support original productions, marketing, and our learning management system that we will use to scale to have chapters. And so the Juneteenth Market Network fundraiser consists of several things. And here is the actual ticket on Eventbrite. We actually start that morning with the breakfast. That piece of the event is driven by change, board members. They assist us in getting people out to that event. They have a ticket in Eventbrite. And if I go to that ticket, let's see. Pull it up. So the fatherhood seminar, so the breakfast actually begins with and we're still debating on whether or not we're going to have breakfast. I'm saying no. We'll have to see exactly how the sponsor moves for this event. But it starts with the MLK Choir, Martin Luther King Children's Choir, coming out to sing a brunch for men. This actual event highlights and honors men in the community. And so they will begin with I think the MLK choir is like 80 kids in their choir. So we're going to start the day with a lot of people at the event because the stage will be packed with people and vendors to begin the day. We also have, in addition to the fatherhood and the start off and the seminars for men, we will have a concert later that night. And that concert is going to be featuring Khalil Kwame Bell. He is a percussionist. He brought out a 5-piece band last year from 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. There will be the sale of tickets for the musical performance with Khalil Kwame Bell. And all of the tickets, we are paying commission on the tickets to the organization that's assisting us with getting people to the event. And so when you guys are distributing as the mentees, we want you to make sure to distribute these tickets as the Juneteenth Market Network fundraiser. All the tickets have the same sales on them, which consist of a free general admission, vendors for $75, food truck for $150, Father's Day concert tickets for $30. And if you buy 2 or more Father's Day tickets, there's a discount of $25. So that's what can be purchased on Eventbrite. We do also have sponsorship packages, which I didn't go over a minute ago, but I forgot to do that. Let's do that now. We also have sponsorship packages for the event that you guys also received. So let me pull a copy of that. This is a sponsorship package that we have. It lets our possible participants of sponsorships know what the event is all about. It gives them an idea of the programs that you're supporting. It tells about the TMT mentees. It tells about the Cyber Bears, which is our robotics club. And it also gives the packages $5,400, $3,600, $2,700. And these are for larger sponsors. The event will be streamed live. So we have the ability to actually live stream. It consists of 5 minutes of stage time to talk about your company and why you chose to sponsor the event. Your branding is included on all of the marketing promotional material, including television, social media, radio, and print for Juneteenth Freedom Festival. We will be running last year's Juneteenth event very heavily, probably starting next week for the Juneteenth, so that we can drive sales with last year participants being the highlight of those campaigns. We have honorable mention on all social media sites before, during, and 60 days after the festival. So we will run a post campaign about who showed up and how they participated. We'll also hit social media. Vendor space, reach the streaming audience with digital precision and impactful 60 seconds ad during concert stream. So we can make a 60-second commercial for the sponsors that will air during the stream for the live stream. Vendor space in the market, and they also receive tickets to the Father's Day Jazz concert, depending on their sponsorship level. So if you've got someone that really wants to come in at a higher rate, then you would actually use this particular package. And so, Dr. Kelly, I'm turning it over to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Is it everybody saying good morning? Can I get a good morning, good morning from everyone, please?
Good morning.
Okay. It seems like it's winter on. Is she going to be on screen? What is going on? When I start my meetings, I don't do the non-screens because, first of all, when you're doing a sales call, you want to see people. You want to get an idea of what people are looking like, just as you begin to call on people. The other thing is, and Tamisha will tell you if you're ever at my event, that I always ask you to turn your cameras or your phone sideways. Can we do that for a moment? Tamara and Isaiah, are you on phones or laptops?
Phone.
This is my phone.
Can we turn the phone sideways, please? Great.
Tamara, you blinked out. We can't see you now. Okay, there you go.
What's going on with Did you go into your settings?
I was just trying to fix the angle.
Is
Winter,
winter
are you
here?
there?
Is
Winter,
winter here?
Winter, are you there? She might not be here. Winter is rejoining us. She can't, you met her, she taped you a while ago. So Winter just showed back up not too long ago and said that she wanted to assist us. She might
Okay.
be at work.
Well, once we get Tamara's phone corrected, it still looks like.
Oh, she said, check the chat. She just told me to check the chat. Hold on. Good morning. Unfortunately, I can't turn my camera. I'm not supposed to be on at the time, so I'm just listening in. So she's just listening in.
Okay, Tamara, what's going on with your phone?
What's it called? What's it called? Better this way?
Yes, you probably turning your phone, but your settings has it still locked for horizontal.
Yeah, I saw that.
I
Go
think,
into
yeah, go ahead.
go into your settings, and there will be a lock. I mean, or better yet, just swipe down on your phone. Take your phone, iPhone, and swipe down from the left, and there will be a lock right there, and that lock will be locked. And you just press that, that releases your phone so that you can go horizontal. When we do these meetings, and the reason that I do this and have this conversation is because you want people to be able to focus on you. That is very important. While you work on that, I'll go on with the meeting, as there are several things that we must cover, and we're going to work on covering that pretty rapidly. The first thing, if you have your pencils and your pens in hand, I need you to write down who, what, when, where, why, and how. Ms. Thomas, would you give me screen sharing opportunity?
Yeah, and I just pulled you up. I just did a whiteboard. And let's see, hold on. Wait a minute.
I'm you're going to use the whiteboard. I'm going to use a presentation.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm sending it to you. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's begin by asking a few questions. And these are traditionally the questions that you got to remember during this process, because this process is very, very easy. It's simple. But let's talk about what sales is before I get there. What is sales? And what gives me the right to have a conversation about sales? First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Eric Kelly. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I've been in business for over, I would say, about 60 years. I know many people would say 60 years. Yes, about 60 years. I started when I was 7 years old. And many times when I began to talk about me starting at 7 years old, people ask the question, how could you start in sales at 7 years old? Well, at 7 years old, my great-grandfather talked to me about what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And I said to him, I wanted to be an artist. He said to me he wanted me to be a lawyer. And so he brought all these big giant books into my bedroom. I was staying with him in his home. And I looked at these big books, and to me, they were very, very intimidating. And whether they were intimidating or not, this was what my great grandfather, Henry Stansel, wanted to happen. And so what I said to him is, I want to be an artist. And so he walked out of the room and he returned about 10 days later. And he said to me, what are you going to be? I said, I want to be an artist. And so he said, well, where's your artwork? And mind you, every day after kindergarten, we would walk from kindergarten to his home, and he would stop by the courthouse because that was his activity, and watch what was going on in the courtrooms. And he would always say, every family needs a lawyer. And even today, I think that's something that every family still needs, because many times people don't get equal justice because they don't know the law. And so I sat there, I went to the side of my bed and I got my drawings and I showed them to him. And he said, "You are serious?" I said, I am serious, and I want to be an artist." And so he left and he came back about another 10 days later. And he said, "Well, if you want to be an artist, we're going to start a museum for you." So with that being said, for those who want to know more about that story, because this morning is not about that story, this morning is about sales, you can go to my website at the erickkellymuseum.org, where that story will play out over the next 60 years. And so with that being said, I was taught early on what it means to share your voice and why your voice is important. Sales is about your voice. It is not about your customer's voice. It is about your voice, what you have, what you want to do, and where you want to go. So as I moved from learning about a museum and moved into high school, I got to high school, and my great-grandfather was pretty wealthy, and he would always say that his money is his money, and to get money, you have to think. And so when I got to high school, I wanted to participate in a lot of the activities. And so what I decided to do, because I was an artist, was to draw names on people's jeans. While we're doing tattoos now, in my day, it was drawing names and pictures on jeans, and people paid for that because I charged for it, because I thought about how to earn money. And so I did probably about 10 jeans a week, which means at about $20, it's about $200 a week. And $200 a week in those days was a lot of money. And so once I moved from high school, I began to go to college on art scholarship. And my art scholarship really taught me how to communicate. And with communication is pretty critical. Many times people don't understand why communications is critical, but we will get into that a little bit later. Once I got out of high school, there was a question, because I went into high school to be an art teacher, changed my major, and went into visual communication, which was advertising. And so as I got out of high school, to start my journey, I got a job at a design house. And me and the people at the design house didn't see eye to eye. Well, I'm not going to go through all of that. And so I got a job with a friend of mine at a car dealership. Mind you, I was thinking about, how do I start my advertising agency? How do I get enough money? And so I got a job at a car dealership, and I sold cars. And my story with selling cars is also extensive. We won't talk about that because this is not about me, it's about sales. And so I sold 20 cars a month, and that was every month. I was trained by a gentleman who sold 30 cars a month. And I'm pretty sure you're probably saying to yourself right now, wow, 20 cars a month, 30 cars a month, that's a lot of sales. Well, our dealership was one of the top dealerships in the country at the time. We did about 100 and 50 cars a month. And we had about 40 sales guys doing that kind of service to the community. So with that being said, I want you to understand really, really, really what sales is. Sales is not selling somebody something that they do not want. Sales is selling someone something that they want. Manipulation is selling somebody something that they don't want. The difference is when you sell me something that I want, I tell everybody. When you sell me something that I want, I tell everybody. When you manipulate me or 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 sell me something that I don't want, I also tell everybody. But the twist on telling everybody is that you sold me something, I didn't want it, but you sold it to me. And I don't like you. You're scumbag. You're nothing. You influenced me to buy something that I didn't need. And so, with saying those two things, I want people to understand that is the value of this morning's meeting. It's not about, what you have to sell. It is about why are you selling it to the individual. So you're probably going to say, well, why would I ask somebody why would they buy from me? That's critical because when somebody tells you why they will buy from you, they will tell you what we call their buying points are. It is important for you to know that because it gives you intel on what to do with your other customers. And when somebody don't buy from you, you need to also ask why you didn't want to buy. And I know sometimes people say, well, Dr. Kelly, I don't want to know why they don't want to buy. I really don't know why they want to buy. I just want them to buy. This thing called sales is really something that helps you build your life on. It's something that helps you build your career on. Because if you understand how to sell your products or services to someone, then you're able to sell yourself to people. Now, when you got up this morning and you put on the clothes that you put on, and you put on and you washed or whatever else that you did to get ready for this meeting, you were preparing to sell somebody at this meeting that you are who you are. I'm going to say that again. When you got ready for this meeting, you were selling everyone who saw you on who you are. And why is that important to you? That is the question that people ask in sales. Why is it important for me to buy what you're selling? And so, with that being said, I gave some information to Isaiah to find sponsors. And he sent me a list, which I really want to say thank you for that before I go any further. So before I go or talk about the presentation that I have for everyone, I want to ask a question, and I want to start with Isaiah. Isaiah, it looks like you're looking down on the world. So let's see if we can get your camera set up right. Is your phone sitting on a table?
It's sitting right on here on my computer.
Okay. Can you raise your phone in another angle so it looks like we're looking directly at you instead of looking down on you? There you go. Okay, that's much better. And if you can put something up under your computer, it'll raise it up so you're looking straight at us the way that we're looking straight at you. Tamara, it doesn't seem like your camera is allowing you to go horizontal. What's going on there?
I know I was looking through the settings like you said.
Did you look at this window here? Can you see it?
Not on your phone.
Uh-oh, hold on, let me see. Can you see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you get to that page?
Mm-hmm.
Just right now, and then there's a lock thing.
Oh,
There you go.
And this is important, y'all, because when people see you, they're going to make judgment on you. And this is how we're going to do business with the TMT Youth Community Foundation. So he's about to get you right. When we looking to move as far as an affiliate, I got a girl in DC right now. So this training that he's giving you as a TMT mentee, this is Zoom training sales 101, how to look good on camera. So
And
thank you, Dr. Kelly.
It's very important. Tamara, it looks like you're also looking down on us. Okay, so let's change your angle. Where's your phone sitting at? And smile while you're doing it. There you go. There you go. That's much better. It makes everybody feel better when you're selling, and you're selling who you are when you smile. That's why I smile. Okay. Okay, Tamara, where is your phone located? You're on mute. You're on mute.
It's on top of my laptop as well. I just added a book to it.
Okay, add some more books up under your laptop so that you can get it higher so we're not looking at your ceiling. That's much better, Isaiah, much better. But you need to be higher. Isaiah, you need to be higher.
If you got a shoebox, sometimes those work really good.
Okay, Tamara, we're getting there, but it's going to need to be higher.
Okay.
I'll wait because this is very important. Now, the way that you can tell whether or not you have the correct angle, look behind, Isaiah, look behind you, okay? Okay, if you look behind you, look at me, Isaiah, look at me, but I want you to look into your camera and look behind you, okay? Now, if you look behind you, you will notice that we see your ceiling up here, okay? Okay, so the first thing you want to do, you see the ceiling, look at me. You're on mute.
I'm in a barn, so that's a shelf right.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get you to the angle. If you look at the size of your wall, it looks like your wall is going backwards. You see the lines on your wall? Yeah. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. Now from there, whoa. Okay, okay, so you need to put some more boxes up under your laptop. Okay, Tamara, if you look at your angle behind you, you'll see the door behind me. You see how straight that door is? That's what you're trying to do with everything in your space, is to make them straight. And you're gonna need some more things up on there. Okay, let's move into the meeting. That's better. Isaiah, you're frozen. Okay.
I'm frozen. I'm staring at something.
Okay, we still need you to lean your phone, lean it forward so that we can get your angle correct. Because we're still looking at your ceiling. You don't want your ceiling in your screen.
I got something.
This is sales 101. I want you to notice what I'm doing. I'm taking time. I'm not rushing. I'm not getting upset. I'm just making sure that we start correctly. So when you start correctly, then you're in what we call the sales cycle. The first part of sales is preparation. And what I mean by preparation is research. You want to research your clients first before you make a call, okay? Which means that you need to understand what you are selling. So when you get this sales package, the first thing you want to do is study it. And then after you study it, then you want to ask yourself a question. Why would you buy? Okay. Why would I buy this project? Okay. Many people would say, well, I would buy because I was asked to sell it. Okay. That is not the answer. There should be, I'll wait till he gets back, and then I'm going to ask that question. At least tomorrow you get a chance to think about the question. Why would I buy?
Yeah, that better work. Figure this thing out today.
And can I ask y'all a question? Why y'all didn't use y'all computers instead of your phones? Tamara?
It was just easier for me at the time for the location, just because I knew I could reach my emails better as well.
Mm-hmm. The new world is to use your phone. It's easier for us. I'm gonna let you slide with that answer, but it was easier to use your laptop when you come on a meeting because you can communicate better with people on your laptop. That's much better, Isaiah. That's much better. Our next meeting, please try to use your laptops, okay? Not phones. Because if we're having a conversation and I needed to call you right now, or somebody wanted to call you right now, an emergency, you can't talk to anyone. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, we're gonna start with my first question. Why did you come to Mara this morning?
For myself, why I came is we used to, like you said, it was for a one on Zoom. To answer your question is why to buy. For us, I feel like mentees is to give the information about what TMT really is to an outside audience that doesn't really know. So, like you said as well, you're kind of selling or why you would want to sell. It's kind of giving them the information that they don't know about the organization.
Isaiah, do you know what the question is?
You don't mind, can you repeat it one more time, please?
Tamara, would you repeat the question?
The question was why you would want to buy.
Thank you. When someone asks that, it's like you want to why you want to buy. You just try and get them to like see like why they want to buy it and like see how it can help them. Like will it what will it benefit if they buy it, and when they do buy it they can and if they like it they can with people.
Okay, both of your answers are incorrect. And let me tell you why. And I'm going to use, and luckily for me, I said, let me tell you why. The why is not why they want to buy. The why is why you want to buy. It's your why, not their why.
Okay.
It is, I'm going to say it again, it's your why, not their why. Because when you're talking to a client or a customer, he or she is thinking about one thing. What is the unique advantage of what you're selling? Again, this morning when you dress, what you're wearing is you're selling me on the idea of who you are. Okay. And how you dress and how you position yourself is always important. I know you guys and ladies probably hear, suit and tie, dress up, and then you say to yourself, well, that's not my flavor. That's not my flow. That's not how I do things. This is how I go. Okay. So you're not meeting your person that you're selling to at the space that they are. you're asking them to meet you where you are. And so now you're in an adverse situation and don't even realize it because you're in emotionalism as opposed to be in salesmanship. And what I mean by emotionalism, you are selling to me how you feel with how you wear what you wear. Okay, so these are some of the small things that you have to think about. Okay, who are you, Isaiah?
Wait, I mean, what's the question? First off, I am Isaiah Foreman, and I'm a photographer. Do you just gonna go detail or? I'm in mute. Son of a. No, I'm not. Oh.
We hear you. We hear you.
Mhm.
Let's see. Detail. I'm a cool person. Cool, get along, respectful. I respect everybody. Pretty much it right now.
Mara, who are you?
So to pronounce my name is Tamara Scott. For myself, I do social media marketing for online production for this organization for myself. I'm a sophomore now at Shaw University. Mhm. That's my little bit of an intro.
Okay, I want both of y'all to understand what I just did. Very, very important. I asked you a question and I shut up. And I gave you silence so that you could think about what you wanted to say. Now, the question has to become, your mind, you have to understand that is the most important question that is going to be asked of you. You have to make sure and understand how to define who you are. Okay, so let's ask Ms. Thomas, who are you?
I am Tamisha Thomas. I am founder of the TMT Youth Community Foundation that provides marketable job skills to youth. It consists of two programs. Currently, right now, we're running, which is the TMT Mentee program, as well as the Cyber Bears robotics program. Both programs provide valuable marketable job skills for youth so that they gain employment here in this area. I'm also the founder of Too Much TV. We produce original television production for untold stories, primarily an African American audience. I'm also a mother of two beautiful children, Christian and Kindlin, and that's the scope of who I am.
Okay, now let's go backwards. What did you learn from what she said, Isaiah, that you did not know?
She has two children and her children's names.
So everything else she said, you knew.
That's what really just caught my attention. I knew she was like the founder of TMT and Too Much TV.
Tamara, is that correct?
Yes.
Tamara, what did you learn?
What's it called? Her intro. I didn't know everything about her intro.
So everything that she said you knew?
Mhm.
Okay, repeat what she said.
She said she was the founder of Too Much TV, as well as the program of the Cyber Bears, as well as her children, following into her chapters of TMT.
Okay. So you didn't do what I asked you to do.
I'm sorry?
You did not do what I asked you to do. You said to me, this is an exercise. Before we go in, you'll see where I'm going. You see, I asked the question. Repeat what she said. You gave me a synopsis. You didn't repeat what she said.
Oh, in that order now. Yeah, I get you.
So when someone asks that question, that is the most important. If you say you know everything that she said, that means that you're utilizing the number one thing in sales, which is listening. Okay.
Mhm.
What you did was you said you listened to what you thought that you knew about her, but you didn't listen to what she said. Okay. Isaiah, the question is which five parts of what I asked you to know about did we use in this first part of the exercise? And what I mean by that is who, what, when, where, how, and why.
The who is the who is who you're talking to.
Who is the question? Who are you? Okay. Okay. Now the next question is why? Why do you exist? Why do you exist, Isaiah? Let's move on. Why do you exist, Tamara?
For myself, I feel like I exist to use my voice for a purpose for certain circumstances.
Why do you exist, Tamisha Thomas?
I exist so that I can fulfill my purpose of being born, which is to let our people know that they must live on purpose, specifically operating to open the door in the minds of our youth ages 18 to 25 to obtain that knowledge, that confidence to go on to do what it is that they were born to do.
Why do you do it, Tamara?
One more time.
Why do you do what you do?
I do for myself to show that others it is possible to achieve all goals that you have as long as you have an open-minded mindset.
Why do you do it, Isaiah?
I do it. It's because it's something I love, and I can help other people and teach them that if you want something, go get it.
How do you do it, Tamara?
For myself, it's the
Tamara,
way.
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you. We gotta get out of emotionalism. Okay. You continue to talk about you. I'm asking, how do you do it? Not for yourself. How do you do it? I want you to think a little bit differently. I want you to think about what I'm asking. How do you do what you do? What is your process?
I use my resources to get different footage from different areas, depending on the topic.
Okay, this is not, I need you to smile, young lady. This is not an attack. This is an exercise. You
Oh, I'm
don't,
sorry, I was thinking.
you're taking it personal. It's what I'm a sales guy. It's I'm watching you. This is why we want our faces to be on, because it's easy. I could be sitting here doing you just like this here, and I'm going to give you an example and saying the same thing. Why do you do it? What are you doing? How do you feel? My facial expressions are something that's a part of sales. My tone is a part of sales. So when you're talking to people and you don't smile, what happens is they hear it. If I was here to say, all right, y'all, what y'all gonna do? That's a different type of tone. So you have to understand what that tone is. And now I'm gonna give you the golden nugget, excuse me, the not nugget, but the golden life-changing thing about sales. And then I'm going to go into my presentation.
Okay, Dr. Keller, let me stop you. It's 8 o'clock. So how long because I told them from 7 to 8. How long do you think that we have to go for the rest of the call or for the rest of the presentation?
Okay, I'm glad. I wish you had told me that initially.
I'm sorry.
We let them tell me how much longer they can give me.
Okay.
Oh, I'm fine. You can
I got 30 minutes.
Okay, is that a hard 30 minutes or is it a hard 30 minutes?
Well, I got like I can probably stay on to about maybe to about like 9:40 because I gotta head over to my cousin's. And I know I can stay. What it was 8 o'clock? Yeah, I can stay on. I can stay on until 8:40 because I gotta head over to my cousin's at 9.
Okay, thank you for that information. I hope you noticed what I did. What I did was I asked the question as opposed to assuming and going into my presentation, not understanding my time limitations. Okay, so let me go into the presentation, and we probably will have to do another one of these. And but I wanted to do what is called qualifying first. The qualifying round is the most important round. And what I have done early this morning is to qualify who you are, why you do what you do, and why we're at this meeting. I didn't get a chance to go all the way into that, but I do understand that. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Black Business Expo sales manual. This manual is created so that we can sell the Black Business Expo. You're going to take this very package and you're going to transform it into a package that shows all the information that Ms. Thomas showed you in your corporate sales package so that you can understand how to do what we're talking about doing. The first part of our conversation, I'm going to move very rapidly. I'm not going to stop. If you have any questions, please write them down and we will discuss them if we have time in the end. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move pretty rapidly. And the reason that I had the first part of this conversation is because the most important part of what we are doing this morning is listening. You gotta work on your listening skills, and then you got to work on your tone. When you're on the phone, when you're talking to people, if in fact you want them to hear what you're saying, you cannot use the tone that I am using right now. The tone that you must use is called quietness, and that is almost a whisper. And so with that tone, you're going to talk to your people in this tone. Hi, I am. And when you begin to lower your tone and talk to people, people begin to try to hear what you're saying. And the reason that you lower your tone is so that people can lean in and hear all of the words that you're going to be saying. As I go through the presentation, there are going to be different tones that I'm going to be using, and those tones are going to be used so that you can understand what I am projecting to you as we continue the sales. So please remember, when you're on the phone or when you're talking to people, do not ever be overbearing. Do not ever press your emotions into the conversation, because it is not about your emotions. It is about understanding what your client wants. Once you understand what your client wants, then you can understand how to sell. So if you look at the first slide, one of the things that you will notice is you see a lot of things. This is what the mind is doing before it starts to sell. It's thinking about your success. It's thinking about the product. It's thinking about the results. It's thinking about the group. It's thinking about the community. It's thinking about the idea. Now, on yesterday, when I had a chance to talk to Isaiah, I said, start thinking about who is your team. Who are the people that you know that you can have on a team that's going to work with you? And that is very important. Okay, let's dive in. So this booklet you will receive. It's called The Road to the Sale by Master Salesman Eric Kelly III. And I talked a little bit about who I am and what I do and all of those things. Okay, so the first most important part is the meet and greet. Okay, hi, I am Dr. Eric Kelly III. I'm a corporate liaison for the Black Business Expo. The event is held. The mission is to raise scholarships. The first one is one where we're a corporate liaison talking to someone. The second one, the first one is not a corporate. The first one is a liaison that's talking to an individual. The second one is talking to a corporation. So you get a chance to read that. Okay. Now, the meet and greet is very important because this is the first time you meet somebody. Okay. And it's called your elevator pitch. It gives me the idea of who, what, when, where, and how, even before we have a conversation. I'm either turned on to what you're saying or I'm shutting it down. Okay. So now that you've done your meet and greet, you got to ask the qualifying questions. The qualifying questions are not questions that you're asking to get into a conversation with somebody. It is asking questions so that you can get intel on how that person thinks or what that person is thinking about or why should you continue to talk to that person. If you ask a question like, do you want to sponsor? And I say no, then do you keep asking questions? Yes, you do. You ask why. Okay, because I may not want to sponsor because I don't know what you're talking about. If that's your first question, then what are we doing, so to speak? So you want to know something about your client. Now, these same questions, these same qualifying questions that we're asking are the same questions that you have to do in your research before you get the person on the line. Many people start calling on people, they don't know nothing about them. They don't have a clue. They don't know if they sponsor things. They saw their information and they are suggesting in their mind that they will buy. They don't know. So if you look at these questions, it says, how long have you been in business? Okay. What is your mission? Do you serve any nonprofits? How many people can your company see a day? Okay, these are very, very important questions that you're asking these business owners. How many presentations does your business make to new clients? Okay, why are you asking about their clients? Very important. How do you get new clients? Okay, word of mouth, TV, radio, newspaper, media, trade events. If you listen to the question and you listen to the answer, what you don't want to do is ask a follow-up question. Okay. The reason you're not asking a follow-up question is because you will get into what we call conversation. And once you get into conversation, you can't get back to sales because now we are talking to each other. Okay. You're not interested in the qualifying round to talk to anyone. You're interested in qualifying the client, qualifying the person to understand what they want. And remember, if you give people what they want, they will give you what you want, which is a sponsorship. So the first part of qualifying is not for you to have a dialogue. And it's easy to get in a dialogue because I could ask you, okay, how long you been in business? You can say, I've been in business for 10 years. And then I can say 10 years, so what have you been doing for 10 years? What I've been doing so and 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 so. Okay, that was good intel, but was that the intel that you were looking for in terms of what you're putting on the table and what you're looking for in terms of the information that you need to actually close the sale? In other words, if in fact I say to you that I spend my money on a lot of cultural events, or I I get new clients by cultural events. Okay, then it opens up the door of what type of cultural events. Now you should already know this. Okay, it's not you, even though you're asking the question, you should have already know what kind of culture events. Okay, because when I say, well, I spend money on the African American Museum's let me make up event, Black History event. Okay, your mind should be able to say to you, okay, he's saying that this is where he's spending his money, and then you ask the question why. Remember, the key to finding out information is always asking that word why. That's why when I gave you those words before, who, what, when, where, how, and their, who, what, when, where, why, and their cousin how. These are what we call your serving words to get information from people. So once you get through your qualifying piece, and you have two sets. You have one where is a individual, a business owner, and the next one is a corporation. So I'm not going to go through all of those, but when you get an opportunity, I want you to go through that particular piece. Okay. Now, once you do the qualifying round, what is the one thing that I'm going to want to know? What am I going to want to know? Am I going to want to go right into selling my services, or what am I going to do next? The next thing you have to do is sell people on who you are. That's why I asked the question, why are you doing this? What is your unique advantage? How do you do what you do? Okay, that is very critical, because again, to get people to understand, what you're doing, they need to understand who you are. It is no problem for you to say, I'm a Shaw University student, and I'm working on a project called Juneteenth. And the reason that I'm working on this project is because of boom. So now you're selling to me who you are. This is very, very important. And the reason it's important is because the person that's getting ready to buy from you are only going to buy from you because they either know you, they like you. Okay, I want you to understand, either they know you, they like you, or they trust you. Those are the only reason people buy from you. Okay, now I can't trust you if I don't know anything about you. Okay, so once you sell on who you are, then the next thing you do is you begin to sell your service. You may say, well, Dr. Keller, how am I going to sell my service? Well, the qualifying round gives you all the answers to sell your service. So when you go back to the qualifying part, the reason that listening is the most important part of sales is because you have to begin to understand what your client wants, what your client needs, not what you want, not what you need, but what your client wants and what your client needs. And the way that you find that information out is by going to get information on the client in terms of who, what, when, where, how, and why their client exists. And then you're going to ask those questions so that you can hear exactly what your client is saying. And then you start your sales on what it is that your client has told you about what they do, as opposed to you're telling your client what you do. And so as we move forward, we'll go to the next one. And the next one is, it says sell the information. Okay. And what we mean by sell the information, and I'll just read a line: Black Business Expo offers access to over 3,000 consumers, marketing, branding your business at one of the largest African American business showcases in the history of North Carolina. Okay, what did I just tell that person? I just told that person what that person said to me in their qualifying round of what they wanted to do. Okay, so that's what you do in selling your information. Remember, you want to stay on point and stay in that box. Do not go outside of the box, okay, and begin to talk about their children. to begin to talk about something other than what you have on the plate. So we're going to move to the next one. And like the reason I'm moving rapidly is because I know it's a time issue. Okay. Anytime that you begin to talk about a part of what that customer has said, the things that you want to be able to do is you want to be able to give benefits, a feature and a benefit of what you just said, excuse me, now, what they just said that they want to do, because it's all about them, not about you. So if you look, you'll see one of our benefits. And so when you get this document, you got to take the time out and fill these things in so that when you get ready to talk, you already have your sales process in place and you already have the answers. You don't want to go into a fight and not know how to win. And this is going to give you a way to win. So one of the benefits is to connect and engage with trade event patrons. That's with clients and customers, to increase access to members of the community, to build mailing lists and contact lists, to obtain immediate feedback regarding the quality and the sales potential of what you're doing. So once you go have an opportunity to go into this document and write these things down, then it gives you a way of already knowing what that client and customer is thinking, because you've done the research. I am in this particular portion, it breaks down each one of the sponsorships. It's the same thing that you're going to do with Tamisha talked to you about earlier. Okay. Now, we've gone through three areas. Okay. We did the qualifying round. Okay. We did the sell who we are. We did the sell the services. Talk about the services, but sell the services. Now what you have to do is demonstrate to that client how this will work for them. Okay? Say that again. Now you have to demonstrate what these services are. Okay? So, how do you know how to demonstrate your services? You know how to demonstrate your services because I, as the customer, told you early on, I told you early on in the qualifying round what, the who, what, when, where, and how. You got to remember that right now they're listening to you, okay? Because it's your turn. You got the information, so you can't be shy about what you perceive is the vision for their mission for their company. And the reason that you're showing them the vision for the mission for their company is you're sharing with them why should they buy. Now, many people would say, well, Dr. Kelly, there's a whole lot of steps to get to my goal. Well, you don't want to sell somebody something and they buy it and then they have what we call buyer's remorse, okay? And the reason you don't want to do that is because your reputation as an individual is very important, or who you are in your lifetime. And so you have to make sure that the reason that listening is important and the reason that taking notes is important when you're listening, or recording the information when you're listening, is so that you can talk on their level about what they want to do with their company, not with their money. Because many times you can go and talk to a customer and that customer can listen to what you're sharing with them, and they can decide they want to give you more money. Okay. The money is never the issue. Okay. It's always, what does the client want to do? A client may say, well, I don't have $5,000. And you can say, well, how much do you have? Well, if you could have this sponsorship, how much do you have? You always ask those kinds of questions, and you always never answer those kind of questions. Never answer the question of how much money somebody has. You just take that, keep it in your mind, and you say you will get back to them. Okay, now, once you sell on information that you obtained during the qualifying round, you must help your client to overcome their objections. Okay, you may say, well, Dr. Kelly, I thought we was all on the right page and everything was going good and the customer was ready to buy and I've done all I was supposed to do. And now the client is saying, I'm not sure. Okay. In sales, many times people are thinking the whole time how not to buy. Even though it's what they want, they're thinking how not to buy. And what they want to know is why to buy. And when we talk about overcoming objections, basically you're just telling them why to buy. You've told me that you want what I have. Okay, now we're at the point where I ask for the order. And when you ask for the order, either they're going to say yes or they're going to say no. Sales is not about selling them a product or a service. Sales is about getting to the yes and the no. The yes may mean that there's more money on the table. The no may mean that you have not you have not given them the correct information so that they can make an informed decision. Okay, which means that maybe you skip some things because you have assumed that you have said everything. So it's important once you get this document and go through the process and you write the process down that every time you do the same sales process. Now, if you want to know how to do multiple sales, what you have to do is begin to understand how well you do your selling of your product and service. Each time that you do a sales presentation, you want to write it down, one presentation, okay? When you start selling, you want to look at the time, how much time it took. Then when you do your second presentation, you want to say 2 presentations. How much time did it take? 3 presentations. How much time did it take? 4 presentations. How much time did it take? 5 presentations. How much time did it take? 6 presentations. How much time did it take? Then you want to add up when you make your first sale. This is very important. And how much time it took for you to make your first sale. You make your first sale the first time you talk to somebody, okay? Then you want to write that time down. But you want to calculate and figure out how much time it takes for you to make your first sale with each one of your presentations. The reason for that is if you want to calculate how many sales you can make, you need to know how long it takes for you to make your first sale. Then you can calculate how many times you need to call on people, how many people you need to talk to make a sale, which gives you the opportunity to know how much time you have to spend on this to be successful. Nobody's going to tell you that in sales. They're going to tell you just keep selling, keep selling, keep selling. But when you understand how much time it takes for you to do your presentation, so that means you need to take time out and practice your presentation. So you know how much time it is. Okay. Once you understand how much time it is to do your presentation, you understand how much time it takes to make your sale, then you can sit down and schedule the kind of time that you need to utilize to make sales so you can get to your commissions. Okay. What I put in here, your qualifying in your client overcoming objections is what generally happens. These are the commonly things that people say. Stuff like the price. Okay. And we put in there what you can say, you know, price is my common objection. The competition was cheaper, or I found another product that meets my needs for less. People always want the best deal they can get. No one wants to pay more for something they perceive to be equivalent to something that costs less. So that means you have to know what you're selling. You have to know what they're buying. That's very important. And so the overcoming objections, these are the main ones. Time frame, well, you just call, you know, your Juneteenth is next week and you're just calling me now. I mean, you know, I got to get the money together. I mean, how can I do this? You know, I want to do it, but I can't, I just don't have the money now. Okay, why do you want to do it then? If you don't have the money, why do you want to do it now? Remember I said that why is critical. Don't feel like your why is asking them and you being intrusive. You're asking why so that they can think in their mind and answer their own question. Because when you're selling, people buy what they're thinking. Okay. So the product, whatever you're selling may not be the right product. The reason that you don't get to the product is because in the qualifying round, the round that we did earlier, you already know that they already are past the product. You already know they're past the time objective. You already know these things that when we're going to get to them, that you have already asked the question. So now when they get down to this part, they can't say, well, I didn't tell you about the time issue. You asked that question early on, so you already know the time issue. So when you get to the time objective, you are thinking, how do I work out the time objective? Because they said it early on. The next space, as you see, we put these in here so that you'll have information. Now, number one, listen. Number two, to confirm the understanding of the objection and by asking qualifying questions. And once you've done all of that, number 7 is you close for information obtained. Okay? What do I mean by that? You've gone through the whole process. Now you're asking for the order. Okay? And many times when you ask for the order, you want to create doubt. I know you're probably sitting there saying, well, Dr. Kelly, the person's giving me the check. I'm getting ready to write the check, but why would I create doubt? Well, the reason you create doubt is that you're looking at how you're going to get them to give you referrals. Okay. The key to you selling to people for you is getting referrals so you don't have to do all the homework that you had to do before to find that client or customer. So in creating the doubt, once you get the check, you explain to them that there are team sponsors. In other words, we'll talk a little bit about team sponsors and what team sponsors are. If somebody says, well, $5,000 is too much, and they say, well, I can pay $2,500, then they can become a team sponsor. Okay, team sponsors are broken down into thirds, into quarters, into halves, which means that they can give you a half of what the money is for that sponsorship. And then you're probably saying, well, they're not giving me all the money for the sponsorship. Remember, sponsorships are created to earn money for your event, but they're not created to pay for everything with your event. So I could give you $2,500 for a $5,000 sponsorship if I have 10 that's spending that $2,500. Because we know 10 times 2,500 is what, Tamara?
10 times 2,500.
Bingo. So let's move on. Now, while you're thinking about that, that's the kind of stuff that you got to have in your head when you're saying these things, because it's all about the numbers. Everything you're doing is about numbers. Okay. So with that being said, once you have the customer, he's signing the check, you want to review the information. And some people don't want to review because they got the check and they're ready to run out the door. Okay, no, you want to review because you're entrusting trust in that person, that you care enough about what you're doing in this transaction that you want to review it to make sure that you didn't miss anything. Some people say, well, it could start another conversation about something. You want to start another conversation with something. You don't ever want to go into sales and not know all of the answers and all of the feelings that your client has, because you're looking at your client as a long-time relationship and not a today relationship. Okay, so then you ask that client or customer point blank, who do you know that wants the same thing that I just shared with you? I need 3 referrals. Who are those people are going to be? This is what tells you whether or not the person just bought something to get you out their way because you're a student, or you're a person that's sold them something that they want, or do you really have a fan, a raving fan about your presentation? If you have a raving fan about your presentation, they're going to say, yes, I know IBM, I know Cisco, I know this person. I can give you direct contact to these people. I will call them, let them know you're going to call them. I am so happy and so overjoyed for what we're doing today. This is awesome. Okay. That tells you what kind of client that you have. Okay. Now, that is the basics of the sales manual. The rest of the information in the manual is more motivation and getting you to see what I talked about earlier. And remember, I said this is a numbers game. Are you tired of getting no from people? Okay. Once you go inside, this program will teach you step by step how to turn a no into yes. Let's look deeper into objections and what they really mean. And then we begin to start talking about different portions of what we do. This is not going to change. Where do you find your clients? Now, yesterday I asked Isaiah to go out and find corporations who are doing cultural events. Okay, so do you find your clients by looking at billboards, cable television, print media, trade shows, direct mail, hotels, radio, taxis, blogs, internet, social media, phones, mass media, buses, magazines, newspapers? Okay, all these places, once you understand what you are presenting, then you will start seeing these spaces as places that people are advertising and marketing to you, which will give you an idea of where to find your clients and your customers. Inside, I talked about through a special relationship with a master salesman. It kind of gives you an idea of how to get to your yeses. I'm gonna move. It's 8:30. I want to get everybody out of here. I want to get Isaiah to where he needs to be. I know Tamara said she could be here a little bit longer, but I wanted to get to a couple of questions so that we can have about 5 or 6 minutes for questions. The rest of this is self-explanatory. It goes back to objection eliminator, which is in this document. Also, it talks about 90% of the no's you get, why you get them. And we have the election, the answer and the question, how to attack it, and all of those things. This is a science. And so the reason that these are in here is so that you can practice on people and practice on folk about what you're doing. Okay. Now I'm at the last. It says, tired of not making the kind of money you deserve. Want to be in the top 5% in the industry? Use all your contacts because it's a numbers game. You've got to remember, this is not about who you are. This is not about how you feel. This is not about what people say. This is a numbers game. So please remember that no matter what happens in this process, when you get in front of enough people who you qualify, you will earn in life, in time, and in money. It's never going to change. So with that being said, these are the steps in the end that you need to memorize and remember. Meet and greet, hey, who you are, qualify, then sell yourself, which is really a reverse qualification of who you are. Demonstrate services, sell from the information that you received in the qualifying round, And then when their objections come, you got to help the client to overcome his fear. Okay. Then you close from information that you obtain. Always create doubt. Yeah, this, we have a tremendous group of salespeople. And while we want you to be our title sponsor, we have competition for title sponsors. So I will get back in case you would like to be a title sponsor. And then you want to review the application. And at the end of the day, you want to follow up with customer referrals. Now, some people will go to the back of the book and say, okay, I got all this quickly, and they skip steps. Skipping steps costs you money. I'll say it again, skipping steps costs you money. You are not here to sell what you're selling. You are here to sell that client or customer what they want to buy. They may say, well, $5,000 is not a lot of money. Do you have anything that we can do better than the 5,000 piece? Yes, we have a title sponsor. Title sponsor $25,000. What can I get with a title sponsorship? Okay. What can I get for a $500? What you want to make sure is that you're presenting something that your client wants and not what you want, what you're trying to sell. If I'm selling a car, I don't fall in love with that Cadillac or that RX-7 or that Lamborghini or that Rolls Royce, because they don't matter to me. They are modes of transportation. If you have a family of 6 or 8 or 10, why am I selling you a convertible 2-seater? Even though that's what you want to buy, why am I selling you a convertible 2-seater? Because you like it. Because once that person buys something that you're selling them that they don't want, they're going to dog your name, dog who you are, and they're going to tell everybody that all you are is a dishonest individual. So instead of selling that convertible, you say, hey, sir, or hey, ma'am, what are you going to use the car for? Let's have that conversation. Yes, you can get the 2-seater convertible, but what are you going to use this car for? Why do you need this convertible? Because I want it. Okay, I want to make sure that we're doing what you're asking me to do, not what you say you want. Is it a need? With that being said, are there any questions? Thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you very much. And with that being said, are there any questions?
No,
I
sir.
have a question. Okay, so we're at the end of this, and Dr. Kelly has I want to do some more stuff with Dr. Kelly. I love this presentation. I think that we need to be able to do this again with a mock session where they sell us and we put them through the sales call and sales process. Next week he has his an online business expo. So he is going to be slammed. So I want to thank him for taking time out of his day to give you guys this training. And I really think that I want you guys to focus on the film festival. We'll do a small amount of calls on Juneteenth, but I really think that they need to probably gear up for film festival. And so I'll get with you, Dr. Kelly, to see when we could do this next. If you don't mind, Dr. Kelly, to donate another day of to be able to have them go through this information and do some mock sessions with you where they sell us and get comfortable in this process.
That's not a problem. You can look any kind of way you want to look. See how she's selling me? Your guys got to see how she's selling me. Y'all got to pay attention. It's about this. She's selling me. One of the reasons that I am here is not just because of Tamisha Thomas. My goal is to change the world. It's not about me. It's about you. You are a legacy. When we take time and give you what you need, then you're able to give yourself and your families what you want to have. Early on, I kind of took you through that process, because that's the same process as you looked at the sales manual. It's the same process that you're going to be taking people through the rest of your lives. The role playing, it's not a problem for me, but you got to take the time out and be serious about this method, because this method can make you a billionaire. I'm not playing. I'm not talking that noise. I retired at 45. I hate talking about me. Okay, I hate it. Okay, because when people hear you talking about yourself, the first thing they're thinking about your ego. Who makes you? Don't nothing make me. It doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter what I've done. It doesn't matter where I'm going. It's about where you're going, what you're going to do with your life, how are you going to show up, how are you going to get to the bag. That's what it's all about. That's why I take the time out for young people all over the world. My business expo goes out to over 200 countries. I do 145 speakers 7 days a week. How do I do that? Okay, so if I say I'm in sales, how do I do that? I am working on doing 365 days live television, 24 hours a day. How do I do that? Okay, I'm not sitting here some dude who's saying, okay, this is the way you do it. This is how you doing it. No, I'm sitting here saying, here's the process. If you follow this process, you can get anything in the world that you want. If you do the research, many people don't do the research. There are five mindsets that you got to understand and know. That's your gray print, your red print, your green print, your blue print, and your black print. And these 5 prints are your footprints of success. That's a whole nother conference that I'm going to be doing later on in the year. If you get an opportunity to get a scholarship to come to that, it will change your life in terms of what you're going to do. So with that being said, Tamisha, yes, I'll be more than happy to do it. You don't have to ever close me. You close me when we first start talking. What are your questions? Isaiah, you got to go. So if you need to leave, you can leave. But give me don't disrespect me and not ask a question. What is your question, Isaiah?
I do have one question. What made you want to do art though? Like I know art is like I actually like art, but like what made you want to do it?
What made me want to do art was I was born with the idea of creativity. I was given a pen at 4 years old. I was sitting in a church and I drew the choir. I don't know why I drew the choir. I was a bad little kid running around church, and mom, grandmama gave me a pen, and I drew the choir. I don't know why I drew the choir, but she gave me an ink pen, and that's what I did. And my grandmama would say to me later on, and I always say this, I wish I had that daggone picture. She said the first time that I ever was quiet was when she gave me that ink pen. And so from that moment to this, I've been drawing and painting. So when you ask me the why, the only answer that I can give you is it's who I am. That's why.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question. Isaiah, you get 3. What's the second question? No, that's not acceptable. What is your next question?
Was it like did you have what type of bump did you have to go over?
What, I don't understand the question. What do you mean?
What I mean is like when you were doing like your what you do now is like what type of bumps did you have to go over? Like
None. The only bump I had to go over was fear.
mhm.
Fear. That's the only bump we all have to go over is fear. That's it. People can say, well, I had to do this. No. Fear is the only bump that you ever have to go over. Fear is a emotion that we create to keep us from doing anything that we want to do. Period. I don't care what you want to do on this planet. The thing that keeps you from doing it is fear. Because you made up in your mind, either you can't do it, it's not accomplishable, something's wrong, this don't seem to be right. I don't know if I can do it. All of that boils down to fear. My great grandfather raised me, and my grandmother raised me. My grandmama said I could do anything I wanted to do on the planet. I believed her. My great grandfather said, if I be relentless and I do the number one thing on the planet is to think, I can get there. And so the only bump that I've ever had, and I've always been successful. I have always been successful.
Okay, Isaiah, last question, because you gotta go. So what's the last question?
Do you like have you passed it down to somebody? Like, are you like
Have I passed my business down to somebody? Have I passed my legacy down to somebody? Have I passed my what down?
it's like like the information that you're helping and you're helping me and Tamara. It's like you pass like how long have you been passing that down?
I've been passing that down ever since 1980, 1997. Wait a minute. Hold on. 82, I sold cars. When I stopped selling cars, I went to the projects to change the 1980, I want to say 84, 85 is when I started passing down information to people all over the country and all over the rings of people that I touch about what I do in terms of sales, in terms of business, and in terms of life. That's how long I've been doing that.
Yes, sir.
So I got a lot of people who get what I've been given, and it was passed down to me from a gentleman who did 30 cars a month, who really taught me how to think critically, as opposed to just think, I'm just selling to anybody. I've always broken records because I have no fear. I've always shared because I believe when you give, you get. And many times when you hear that Black people can't work together, I have proven that Black people can work together by doing what I do each and every day. And that's a piece of my artwork behind me, as a matter of fact.
Yes, sir, I did see that.
Okay.
Isaiah, thank you very much for coming.
Let you go, and we're gonna and we will Tamara and Isaiah, I'll send a text. Y'all let me know the next.
Hold on.
Okay.
If he wants, we know he got to go.
Okay.
But let's ask Tamara her 3 questions. So if when you disappear, we know you got to go. So we get it. So Tamara, what are your 3 questions?
So I knew because I felt like I knew you was gonna ask me the same thing. For for myself, I feel like I would ask when people didn't understand your vision or the direction that you wanted to go with yourself, with your life, what was your moving direction to pursue what you wanted to do?
Great question. Great. This is a powerful question that she asked. And let me redefine what she just asked me. When I made a decision to do what I wanted to do, how did I continue to do what I wanted to do in spite of people telling me that it wouldn't work, couldn't happen, that what I'm doing is crazy? Okay. The answer to that is easy. The reason that I am able to do what I want to do is because I understand that there are 8 billion people on the planet. This is critical. There are 8 billion people on the planet. And each person represents an idea. And each one of us, when we die, each one of us, when we get married, we average about 250 people. So that is really our ring. Okay. I understood that I wanted to be the salt and not be the horse or the water. And what I mean by that is that I wanted to find people who wanted to do what I wanted to do. And those are the people that I entertain. The people that don't want to do what I want to do, that's your business. The people who don't want to go down this lane that I'm going down, that's your business. It's 8 billion people. So when you have an idea or a thought, you have to move to a space where people want to do what you want to do. The same with these companies and corporations. They're going to sign up because they want to do what you want to do. And it's a numbers game. And so the reason that we did the sales piece is so that you can get through the numbers game to get to people who want to do what you want to do. That is the answer to that. Next question.
I have a question.
Hold on. Next question.
Oh, yes, you got 3. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. When you first started out, what was your, or like what type of people was your building blocks to first start out to get connections and everything?
That's an interesting question. Bye bye, Isaiah. I thought he was going. When you asked what was my building blocks, my great-grandfather, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, who I had a chance to know and meet, those were my building blocks. I believed everything they said. Because they was leading. You know, my great-grandfather was wealthy. I don't have a rags to riches story. You're not gonna get me start talking about, well, you know, I was in the projects and I got out the projects and then I got a job and I took a job and I went here and I went there and you know now I'm here. That's not my story. I hear that a lot. I'm not a rags to riches guy. I am a guy who was told that he could do anything he wanted to do. This is what you got to do to get there. And if you follow these things, you're going to get there. And if you don't, you're not going to get there, period. And so I believed in what they told me. And that's how I got to where I'm at today. Like I said, I retired at 45. And when I retired at 45 to drawing paint every day, people was looking at me like I was crazy. And what I said to them is, that's your life, this is my life. Y'all do what y'all doing, I'm gonna do what I'm doing. I don't get a do-over, I only get a do. And with that do, I'm gonna do. Okay, next question.
Okay, for my final question, this would be if you had this perspective, but what did it take for you to maybe get out of maybe I can't do this, or maybe it's too much or over my head, to a mindset of how you know what you can do or what you will do? And
that's never happened to me.
That's why I was asking. Yeah, it's perceptive and perspective.
Yeah, it's never happened to me because I don't live in that water. I don't live in that space. That's a space that we are programmed to be in to keep us from going to our greatness and our brilliance. If you sit back and you do the research, there's a gentleman who who created a television that uses radio waves and don't need to use electricity and never went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Never went to school to understand how to create this apparatus that he uses to light a house without electricity. How did he do that? What happened that allowed him to do that? The only thing that happened was he never sat around and thought about he couldn't do something. And it's easy to have what they call writer's block and all of these blocks because we're programmed to think that way. Thought is the most important part of what we do. That's why when you ask that question, I have to say to you, it never happened because I was not programmed and trained to think in that manner. And a lot of times we are programmed and trained to be who we are and to think who we are and to follow the follower.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope I helped.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tamisha Thomas, what you got? You
I,
got questions? 3 questions.
Oh, to you. First of all, I want to acknowledge that Mona is on the phone. She is from our board, and she's helping us put together educators like this. So Mona dropped in. Want to say hi, Mona? Hello. Say hi to everybody, Mona.
Hi.
Can you come on camera?
Ms. Mona. She can't, I don't know. Well, so my 3 questions.
I haven't met her. I can't meet her without seeing her.
I can't, she's.
Okay,
Good morning. No, I'm
So-
not coming on camera this morning. It's okay. And we do know each other. You just don't remember.
Mona
But
who? Mona who?
pardon?
Mona who?
My name is Muna Mujahid.
Mujahid.
I used to have a store on 9th Street in Durham. Muna's on 9th Street.
The toy store.
No,
Oh no. Then what else is on 9th Street that I went to?
it's no longer on 9th Street. It was there just for a little while. But that's irrelevant right now. But we'll get back to that. So go ahead, Tamisha.
So, my three questions,
Mhm.
to you, Dr. Keller, what makes you, what makes you, what drives the need to be able to, provide scholarships for youth as part of the Black Business Expo?
Because when I was going to high school, every day in high school, they would ask, who's going to college? And I would raise my hand. I didn't have no money. I didn't know how I was going to go. I knew that my grandmother, every time I said I wanted to do something, she made it happen. And I would always raise my hand. And so what happened was, because I was drawing every day, 3 teachers took me into a lounge, in the teacher's lounge, and said I was cheating because I would go to my art class and I would play around, and then the day of the work, I would go in and do a piece of art that was the best art in the school. That's what my teacher said. And she said I was cheating, and she wanted me to do more. And so she had my English teacher, my history teacher, and my art teacher had me in that room. And so they said that I had to draw for the classes, do 3 projects additionally for their classes. And so I did. And at the end of the year, I got an art scholarship. I got letters from all over the country, and I got an art scholarship. I won the prestigious Durham Links Award that was being given out for the best artist in the state of North Carolina. So my name got thrown in the hat, and people started sending me stuff. And so when I went to school on art scholarship, it just kind of changed me, because my grandmother said it changed me because I changed in terms of who I was and what I was doing. And so when my grandmother started the Black Business Expo, she came to me and she said she wanted to give scholarships because she saw the change in me with me getting the art scholarship. And so I also watched some of these kids that we've been able to give scholarships out to and see how they have changed their lives. And that is why I do it still today. I tell people the Black Business Expo fell on me. I was not looking to do it. I was running an advertising agency. My grandmother waited until I raised enough money from selling cars and started my advertising agency. And once she saw that I defined what my agency was going to look like, she walked into my office. She was a civil rights leader and said to me she wanted to do an event to bring Black businesses together with corporations, because in the meetings that she was in, they would always say they couldn't find competent Black businesses. And so she wanted to do that first, but more importantly, she wanted to raise scholarships to change children's lives. That's why I continue to do what I do.
I see that you're building community through the internet space. How important do you feel that it is to be able to retain community in a cyberspace?
Well, see, this is the deal. If you watch right now what's going on, and everybody's saying, let's go back to physical events. Everybody, let's go back to physical events. Let's go back to physical events. Okay. When the pandemic hit, we went to a virtual space, and that virtual space opened up the entire world for everybody. This is a space that was already open for everybody. We just did not know it. When I do the Black Business Olympics, and my Rolodex went from North America, pretty much, California. I only had California, I had New Orleans, I had New York, I had Chicago, I had North Carolina and Washington, D.C., where I'm from, and Virginia in my Rolodex. And what I mean by that, those are the people that was in my phone that I was able to call was probably in just those 8 or 9 cities across the United States of America. That was it. Okay. When the pandemic hit and I did virtual, my Rolodex now is Singapore, it's London, it's Canada, it's Burundi, it's Africa. That's what my Rolodex is now. Okay, so why I say it's important is because that's the Rolodex of world leaders. That's the Rolodex of people now. Okay, it's not about me. You asked the question, why? If Martin Luther King was still alive, and Malcolm X was still alive, and Marcus Garvey was still alive, and Fannie Lou Hamer was still alive, and Madam C.J. Walker was still alive, and all of these great visionaries were still alive, they still would be trying to show our excellence all over the world. And that's what the Black Business Olympics and what has happened with the opening up of this pandemic has happened to us as a people. And now people are trying to push us back into the box. And everybody's pushing us back into the box. Okay. But while they're pushing us back into the box is still open for other people to do things around the world. And that's why it's important for us to continue to do what I'm working to do. When I say I'm doing 365 days live network, the reason is when something happened to us as Black people, we need to have a space and a place where we can voice our opinions to each other so that we can survive as a people.
What's that? Okay, go ahead.
And so that we can see each other in our greatness, which means that now our kids who are committing suicide, the 18 to 24s that are committing suicide, 1 in 100,000 that are committing suicide, can start seeing that they can be something more than singers, dancers, actors, strippers, and criminals. They can see themselves being entrepreneurs all over the world. And that changes the dynamic of what we as a people in just my small pond can do. And why I said my small pond is because there's 8 billion people on the planet. You know, once we are able to get networks like the one that I'm creating all over the world, then we can start changing and seeing what this world really is all about and how we can utilize the resources to help us do better just as people. That's what it's about for me.
And what's the status of your agency? Are you still running the agency piece?
No,
or... no.
Okay. No. Okay. I retired from the agency, and the only thing that I do is strategy, visionary strategy meetings, and that's it. And the only reason I do visionary strategy meetings, because I really believe that most of the time people have ideas, but they don't have a strategy. And so I work with people to help them to see their strategy so that they can get to their vision. You know, because a lot of times when the fire is burning and you're in the fire, you can't really see how to put the fire out. But the person on the outside sometimes can see how to do that. And so that's the only part that I do now. But, you know, as I say to you all the time, that everybody is a part of the fabric of success. And so that's what it's about for me.
So my next question is to Tamara. Tamara, what'd you learn today?
I feel like for myself, I learned the step-by-step process of how to, one, sell yourself and sell the product that you and want to invest in others.
Okay.
As well as for yourself to know, you know, why would you want to sell your product?
Okay, so we're going to follow up with this. We're going to take this information. Dr. Keller, I look forward to you sending it over to him. I will actually go over it with the students, do some more training with them, and then we'll get back and maybe do some mock sessions. So
we were supposed to get with Mark this morning. He didn't show up, so I don't know what the status of that is.
For you stream for StreamYard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that. Maybe I'll call you back later on that. But
I will be out today. I've got a Cyber Bear training meeting. I got Cyber Bears and another art. So I won't be back till late today. Probably around later, probably 7, 8, 9-ish, if that's okay. And then tomorrow, what am I doing tomorrow? I have a meeting tomorrow at 2. So early, if Mark has something available early in the morning, we can look at restreaming else.
And I want to tell you, thank you so very much for taking out the time and allowing me to come into your space and share information. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. I think this, we've been saying about, I really want to get them to a place where they can do something on Fridays as a part of the Black Business Expo. And I think that this is a great segue to that. So I want to thank you for giving us, because this is the community educators, and we're looking at doing an affiliate piece. So now that we have this recording, I can now contact my girl in DC, because this is the vision of taking people like yourself and putting it with these students and being able to build them so that they have the marketable skills. And this was right on point with what we needed today. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Moni, this is what the community educators piece looks like. So as we are rounding up people and putting them into these virtual spaces with kids, sometimes it could be virtual, sometimes it's going to be in person, but this is kind of what we're looking at as we look at putting chapters around the country. This is kind of the space, the online training, and then empowering leaders in the community to have the kids, tell stories, telling untold stories, as well as the marketing agency. So we'll be calling on you a little bit more, Dr. Kelly, because you got the agency in you too. So we want to, don't give me that side eyebrow. I know the obstacles you probably ran into with that, because our community has been priced out of media. And so a lot of times our businesses can't afford media. So, when you're talking about an agency, you're like, well, people, they're doing it word of mouth by now. But because we're now in this digital space and social media, I think it's time to kind of cash in on the fact that we can buy advertising at a different rate than what we used to with just print.
Well, I think that the challenge is, this conference that I'm working on, that's called the Mind Print, is a part of what I'll see what I can do to do a sample size for the students. But what we're really, the real question is, why do you do anything? And my answer to that is always because I get air. I get an opportunity to wake. I get an opportunity to see, to know my name. And that's why I do everything. And many times we don't look at what our subconscious mind is doing. We don't look at what our conscious mind is doing. We don't look at what the industry is doing. And we don't look at our green print. How do we earn money off of what our blueprint is, which is the industry? And then we never look at our exit plan or our retirement. And we don't look at wealth management. And so when you don't look at those 5 areas, then what happens is you're still going through doing what you're doing
day to day.
But what are you doing?
Right. I got you.
What are you really doing? And so that's what it's about for me. The reason that we're having our meeting is because subconsciously you're looking for information to answers that are in your head, and you have directed yourself to say, I need these answers. And so you're reaching out to different people who have those answers. Okay. Your conscious mind is the piece that monitors how you get it done. Okay. But the most important part is, what does your industry do? How does your industry that you're working in, how do they work? And then once you understand your industry, which is very simple, getting research information, then you have to look at what is the green print and how do I make money off that industry? But the reason I'm making money off that industry is because I want to manage wealth. I want to have an exit strategy, and I want to retire and do something else. And this is a part of what people don't deal with, because they say to themselves, I want to do it my way. Well, it's really, no way but one way to do things.
The formula.
People will say, well, I want to do it like this and I want to do it but it still boils down to what you want, what you have, and what you want to achieve. That's it. And how you're going to achieve it. That's it. And we can say, well, I opened up my advertising agency and I wanted to be a boutique advertising agency. Okay, you're only saying you want to charge more money for your agency that has a small staff. That's all you said. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand the industry, you still can't get paid. You know, if you don't understand how to make money on the industry, you still can't get paid. If you don't show up, if you don't show up to do it, you can't get paid. And if you're not thinking about it every day, you can't get paid. Because why are you doing it? To get paid. And see, those are the small things that our students don't get, because everybody is talking about who they are, what they did, how they did it, and all that stuff. Well, why are you talking about all those things? Our kids are killing themselves. Why are you talking about all those things? Our kids are not looking at life as being valuable. Why are you talking about yourself? You're not sharing with them how they can take their knowledge and their brilliance and their genius and go to another level. And sometimes you don't get that because you're programmed to hate Black men, you're programmed to hate Black women, you're programmed to hate Black people.
Yourself, and to hate yourself because you are Black.
And
So
you and
that's the
that is
most important. That's
and
the
you're
most important.
taught
Right.
to hate yourself. And
Right.
so somebody stands up and begins to talk about these things. The first thing you get is you're opinionated. You talk like you know everything. You doing this, you doing too much. You doing this, you're doing too much. And what really happens is the box of brilliance that you have inside is closed off, and you're not using that brain. That's why I talk about that young man. His name is Maxwell Chibutu, I think it is, who created the television that doesn't need electricity. And then I talk about, well, how did he do it? And people say, well, he didn't go to school for it. Okay, so if he didn't,
He wasn't conditioned
yeah,
to feel like he didn't know.
he didn't have all those things in his brain to say he couldn't do it. And what kind of world would it be if we all didn't have those boxes around our brains to say we can't do what we can do?
Well, that's why we got you here. And that's why, you know what I'm saying, I'm glad to see this, because we, you know, to take people in our community, our elders, and put them with our youngins and be able to facilitate that process where it's free from, especially with, you know, they're gonna close down the schools. So what we're looking is to be able to create an environment where we have access to educating our own children. And this is the premise of that. And so Moon is working on bringing in retired educators for us. And this session is kind of what it looks like. We're looking at even working with agriculturalists, the Pharaoh of architecture, of agriculture, to actually, you know, teach the kids how to grow food. You're doing with the sales piece, the strategy piece. And so this is the beginning. And we got a girl in DC. I'm going to send her this tape, as well as what it costs for us to be able to bring kids in this space. Because like you said, you're right. With the pandemic, we got out the box, and now they're trying to place us back in one. And so now I don't have to explain to people that our Zoom call is a classroom. And the fact that you even got the kids on today with the qualifying piece are you ready to sell, with even looking at how you look on camera. You know, the fact that I come into a meeting and people see this behind me, they feel like, oh, it's so impressive. It's the preparation to go into a call to let people know that I'm constantly selling film every time that they look at me. So it's like, you know, it's so that, you know, it's exactly where we're headed. And so this
And
will,
that's why I do the Black Business Olympics.
we know we got the kids on there.
While you're doing this here, imagine if you could connect with students all over the world to hear the information that you're pushing out. Imagine if we can get our executives and our senior seasoned people who do these great things to get on and break it down to the
vision. That's the vision. Yeah.
And that's what it's about, because this group that you're creating is a movement that moves. And
right.
No matter who comes to the table, we're all sharing our brilliance and our genius and our knowledge that can help propel younger people to do more, because they can do more.
Yep.
You know, and
you can with your own curriculum. That's what I love.
And each one of these students can do the same thing that we're doing with their communities and create a movement that changes the world. Like I said, if that man could create something with radio waves and not go and have any kind of education. It's the same thing that George Washington Carver did with the peanut.
Right.
It's the same thing, but
Well, you see
we're
it all the time. Operating your brilliance.
yeah,
Excellent.
but we're conditioned not to even think that way. When I started out doing the Black Business Olympics, everybody told me it wouldn't work. People's mindset is short span. People are not going to listen. People are not going to do this. And you being with me, we do 8 in the morning to 8 at night, and we have gotten to over 10 million people. Okay, if it wasn't able to do, why would Ted Turner have said to the world that I'm going to do a 24-hour news network? Everybody said it wouldn't work. Okay, now everybody has a 24-hour news network. Okay, Bill Gates said again he was going to put his products on all the computers in the world and become one of the richest men in the world. People said that's not going to happen. The government almost tried to break his business up. But he showed them Steve Jobs and the telephone. Remember, he did the iPod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then he said, I'm going to the telephone. Everybody said, no, don't do the telephone. That's not going to work. And he said, I am not going to make the best telephone. I'm going to make the most beautiful telephone that you are going to want to lick it. So when you look at all these phones, the reason the people buy the iPhone is because it's the prettiest phone on the marketplace. It's not the best phone, but that was his vision and his mission. Okay, so but what we do is we allow people to tell us that it can't happen, it's not going to work. And then we just shut down and don't do it. And then somebody comes along and do it. And then we say, oh my God, I could have done that. I can tell you something that I did back in 1978. 78. I was doing television. I was dancing and I was singing. And I was being late at my television show almost because I was living in Birmingham and I was driving to Tuscaloosa, which was about 45 minutes away. Me and my dance partner, we would be late. One day I walked in after the show. We did our show. We were interviewing people. We danced before the show and everything. That was during the days of the hustle, white glove, tuxedo, the whole nine. I thought I was the guy. And I asked this black guy, I said to him, I said, look, man, if we change the music, would the dance look the same? And he said, well, I don't know, man. Let's try it. Me and him, we didn't know what we was doing. I said to him, I'm dancing on a 4/4 count. Okay. And so he changed the music. And when we changed the music, it looked like a totally different dance. So that gave me another 10 minutes that I had to get to work. Okay. Now I was being on time every time. Okay. But what just really happened that I didn't even think about 2 years later, not saying that I did it first. I'm just only saying that I did something which was right then the invention of what? The music video. I didn't know it. I wasn't thinking about that then. I was just thinking, I'm just trying to do something to help me. This is what Black people do all the time. When I got to college, I wanted to be a cool guy. And so what I did was I was a Boy Scout. Okay. So I took my backpack and I put my backpack where I had my books and everything in my back. And so I could walk around, use my hands, talk and laugh, and then I could go to class, pull my stuff out. And I did that. I was doing a backpack before anybody was even thinking about it. I did it so much until the artist for the yearbook did a divider of a picture of me standing there with my backpack on the back of my back talking to people. That was something that I did then. I didn't know that was going to be a trend.
So the trends, huh?
And what I'm saying it today is that we have to begin to think about where we are, what we're doing, and what we're thinking about at that time, because there's always brilliance out there that we're thinking about that we don't know 10, 20 years from now is going to be something. The metaverse, when the pandemic hit and we found out we were not going to be able to do our physical show because they told us, the governor said only 5 people could come in a room. And I started going online to try to figure out how can you do it online. And I was talking to these people in these rooms before it was called the metaverse. And I'm having conversations, and my mind is flying because I'm thinking, oh man, we can do it in your space. We can bring all these people in, and then people start telling me how much it was gonna cost. Okay, I took cost and allowed cost to keep me from doing it in the metaverse before it was the metaverse, and now it's in the metaverse, and everybody's doing the metaverse, and those are the kinds of things sometimes we do. Like a lady said yesterday to me, sometimes we don't see our blessings because we're looking at what stops us from doing what we can do. You know, we're looking at stuff like money. And my great grandfather used to say, never put money first, always put vision first. When you put the vision first, the money will come. And that's how I've been successful all the time. You know, I remember sometimes when I wasn't doing so well, and somebody would call, like a guy just called me on the phone yesterday to do a mural at his house. He's going to pay me $5,000 to go to his house, on his wall, no less, take some white paint and put white paint on his wall, and take a paintbrush and draw a scene on his wall.
Don't you just love those kind of calls? I love them when they come in as the artist.
And that's all because you're committed to doing what you're doing. What you're doing right now with Too Much TV, if you continue to do it and continue to follow your vision, your people are going to come to you. But what happens is we stop.
You're right. You're right. Muna I met her 20 years ago at DCLT, and I was gonna stop until she called. You can't. You got to keep going. And so she's been helping me move because I've had to be able to move out that mindset. And she's like, nope, nope. You got this work is too important. You got to keep going. So I get it.
That's what it's and that's what
in your
really
mind.
what,
yeah,
that's really what it's about, to have people in your life who are looking at what you're doing and saying, hey, you can't stop. Phyllis Coley, y'all know Phyllis Coley. Phyllis Coley was going to stop doing her magazine. Phyllis was going to stop. I used to do the graphics for her magazine when it was a physical thing. And she was saying she was going to stop. I said, Phyllis, you can't. I said, can't nobody do what you're doing, Phyllis. Don't nobody do what you're doing. If you quit, we don't have what you're giving us. Right. When Jim Fields passed, and
I know them too. I was over at Ty.
Yeah, Jim Fields passed.
Wanna sent me over there.
both of us, me and because I work with Fields, both of us was not just Jim, but when I say Jim Fields, it brings emotion because he was my other daddy. When he passed, we didn't have a person in place to continue to do his work.
Wow.
So even now, who covers Black events?
We want to.
BET, before BET was doing anything, me and Jim was covering Black events.
Right.
And we didn't know in our minds that it was a thing.
But look, you're gonna make me late for this robotics thing. We're gonna talk all day. I gotta be over there to make sure the kids are good. I'm gonna get with the youth. I'm gonna call them this week. We're gonna go over it, and then I want you to let's do this again. And I got this all I can say is this is right on point with community educators and what we want to do. Y'all coming in and bringing in professional knowledge. And so my goal is to get it sold. I got a girl in DC. I got to go in and get all the certification for TMT, recertify the organization because we have the contents. All the seeds I laid down, they come into fruition. And so this is going to serve as what this looks like.
Well, call me this evening because I got to figure out
what we're doing
with the streaming. And again, I want to thank everybody for giving me the time to have a conversation and talk a little bit about the future.
Okay, and I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna cut out the last.
Mona, I still don't know what you look like, but you know by the end of the day, I'm gonna know, right?
It doesn't matter.
I just want to know who's on the other side. That's all.
Okay. Well,
have a great day.
Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Have a good day.
Bye.